to ISKCON Folkestone. I really like it here. You have such beautiful Gauranatai deities. It's clear from their expressions that being very much loved and looked after, the pristine nature of their outfits, the attention to detail, the balance, the cleanliness, everything is so pure. So it's spiritually uplifting for me. I gain a lot of spiritual benefit coming here to this holy place. So thank you so much for being here and building this community, working so hard. It's not easy, spreading Krishna consciousness. In one sense, everything's against us, but fortunately, because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we will have an opportunity to perfect our lives and go back to Vrindavan just through the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So I was being eulogized there by Priyakun. It's not true. I'm the lowest of men, foolish rascal, and the real mystery, the secret behind the success of ISKCON London is Radha Ramprabhu, because I just do everything he advises me to do.
What about Abhinandan?
Oh, definitely, Abhinandan Gopaprabhu. He's headed up Studio 108 for some years, and now he's in charge of the CBA. I mean, a lot of devotees, and is also an excellent book distributor. He's a very good friend. And that's what's so nice, is if we understand Krishna consciousness, what it is, it's actually all about making friends and lifelong relationships where mutual respect, appreciation, and assisting one another to progress in Krishna consciousness, always reminding each other about Krishna, his name, his pastimes, his beautiful form, his remnants, his prasadam. We're going to have some of that later. And in this way, it's difficult to forget, because that's the two defining principles. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So if we always remember Krishna, never forget him, and our life is already perfect. And that's why Lord Chaitanya came. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodito Godadaya Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonudo. As the sun and the moon are very kind to all living entities. Have you ever thought about that? How the sun is so kind to us? Always giving us warmth, light. You don't even think about it. It just happens automatically. Nourishing us, giving life to the world. All the fruits and flowers, everything. And the moon is also very kind. The cooling moon. You've had a very stressful day. You can walk out and the cooling moon smiling down upon us. Of course, in London we don't see the moon much. It's either hidden behind some grey or suspiciously brown clouds or tall buildings. But it's there. And in the same way, the moon and the sun are very kind to all living entities. Goran and Tai are also extremely kind. But they're so kind that they've delivered the highest possible love for Krishna, love for God, to the most fallen, without any expectation of return. Whereas Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita requires, Savadamam Prityaja Mamakam Sharanam Vraja, you must surrender unto me. Lord Chaitanya doesn't request anything of the kind. When we go to Sridham Mayapur and we see Radha and Krishna and the Ashtasakis there, it's like you're gazing into the spiritual world, and sometimes I reflect, do I really belong? I'm like looking in from the outside. I know I'm not ready to go there yet. But when you see the Panchatattva, like we have Gauranatai here, their arms are just in the air. Everyone's welcome. No rules. All you have to do is come and chant. Come and take prasadam. Come and chant with us, dance with us. That's all. There's no other expectations. What could be more kind than that? Deliver the highest love for someone we've never even met. someone we don't know. I was hearing from Vaisheshika people in a class the other day. Imagine if you didn't know anybody, there's somebody you didn't know, but, oh no, it was David Ritamarch actually in one of his classes. He was talking about this. He put a scenario like this. Imagine you're walking down the street with your friend, and your friend pointed out somebody the other side of the road that they didn't know. And they said, I just love that person so much. You probably think it was a bit weird, right? I love them so more my heart. You don't know anything about, you don't know them. You never met them. So what Lord Chaitanya did, he gave the highest love of Krishna, prema bhakti, to people who didn't even know who Krishna was, just by getting them to chant his names, innocently. I was speaking because it was the appearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, the day before yesterday, and, the day before yesterday. And in that book, the story of Narayani, who's the nephew of, the niece of Srivas Thakur, and she was just a 4-year-old child. How old is this?
Almost 4.
4 in June, 4 next month.
Okay, so this kind of age, 4. I'm talking about you. And she was sitting there quietly, doing a colouring book, or whatever it was. And Lord Chaitanya, from the other side of the room, in Shiva Sangam, the house of Srivas Thakur, said, Narayani, chant the name of Krishna in ecstatic love. And she immediately started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Tears were pouring from her eyes, and displaying all ecstatic symptoms. She fell on the floor unconscious, and everybody was shocked. How can a 4-year-old child display such symptoms of pure love of God? And then they realized the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he can give love of God to somebody who doesn't even know who God is. That's his mercy. He's so kind that he gives the highest love for somebody we haven't even met. So we know Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Krishna Varnam Dasha Krishnam Sango Pangashtrapashram. That Anadapita Chiram Chirak Karuna Yavatina Kalo Samapayatu Natoshvala Rasa Swabhaktushiyam. So he's come to deliver the highest love of God. He's come to this world. Although he is Krishna, but he's in the mood of Radharani, with her golden complexion and her mood. And in this way, we know that Krishna was once one, because this is beyond time and space. Krishna was one, but then to expand his loving exchange, he became two, Radha and Krishna. Now that Radha and Krishna, the original loving relationship, has again become one person, and that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. And one of the special techniques he used to deliver the fallen conditioned souls was his dancing. And Lord Chaitanya's dancing was not something ordinary. Even his followers could dance for 72 hours without a stop, without rest. 72 hours dancing. Even if you take 4 hits of ecstasy, I don't think you could dance for 72 hours. You would collapse at some point, or have to have some top up. But he didn't have anything, just pure love for God, nothing else. And he could dance like Rashra Pandit. Lord Chaitanya said, he's like a wing. If I could have 2 of you, I could fly. But Lord Chaitanya's dancing also was something incredible. He would spin, like a ballerina spin, but he'd spin so fast, it would be like a firebrand. So like a firebrand, it's firework night and you spin and it becomes like a circle, like that. He looked like a firebrand. He would jump so high in the air and then come crashing down because he would lose consciousness in midair out of ecstasy and hit the ground so loud that everybody thought he'd broken all of his bones. The earth would tremble. And so therefore Lord Nityananda would run after him to try to catch him. Sometimes he would succeed, other times he would fail. And so this type of dancing was exhibited very much during Rathayatra. So as Priyakant Prabhu mentioned, next Sunday is Rathayatra Festival, ISKCON London Rathayatra, or London Rathayatra. And this Rathayatra, for those of us who don't know what Rathayatra is, it's a festival of the chariots. And Jagannath is a form of Krishna who is pulled on the chariot. The English word Juggernaut means like a big lorry or big vehicle. Comes from the word Jagannath, because it's these huge chariots, many meters tall, like 45 meters tall, and they're hand-pulled chariots, and on the chariot is a form of Krishna, Jagannath, in his most ecstatic feature, with big eyes and a smiley face, and his brother Balaram and his sister Subhadra. So 3 chariots, 3 great personalities, and there's an opportunity to pull these chariots, and this is a great fun festival for everybody to participate in, and it is beautiful, lots of flowers and decorations, lots of prasadam, lots of singing and dancing, for everybody, for the whole family. But it has a very, very deep significance. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach the world that significance. So why did Krishna come as his own devotee? Krishna usually comes Pratranaya Saranam Vinashaya Dusvitam Dharmasam Stapanataya Sambhavani, millennium after millennium, to kill the demons when there's too many wicked people on the earth and they're exploiting the innocent. Then the Lord comes personally to dispatch them. Sometimes he will send a son or a prophet or a representative to deliver the same message, to drive away the darkness of the age and to reinvigorate the spiritual culture, the eternal culture of Sanatana Dharma. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he's in the mood of his servant, in the mood of his own devotee, to teach us how to become a devotee, show us the example, a hidden avatar. But that's Lord Chaitanya, and so he simply gives the perfect example of what a devotee should be, and that includes dancing and chanting at Rathayatra Festival. It's very, very important. I remember my first ever Rathayatra when I first joined the temple in London in 2012. And my friends in the ashram, I'd only just moved in when actually it was almost 1 year. That's 1 year. How many years?
16.
Almost 14 years today that we moved in to the ashram. Isn't that amazing? It was the end of May. And one of the first festivals I heard about was Rathayatra Festival. What is this? And I couldn't believe it. Because you go out onto the street and there's these 3 giant chariots, beautifully decorated, and lots of music, and you get to pull these chariots. I just couldn't believe it. I was dancing so much in those beautiful sunshine. I was dancing and dancing. I went to all the chariots, all the different kirtan parties, moving around freely. I just couldn't believe things like this existed, that you could be this happy. And then the feast at the end, Parashurams, halava and shrikand. Oh. So shrikand is like a really delicious sweet yogurt, and you have that with halava, which is this divine, crumbly, cake-like substance, and you can eat as much as you like. Yeah, I really fell in love with the Hare Krishnas because of that. When I first saw a bucket of halava, I just saw it and I was like, well, that looks really good. So I tasted it and I was like, wow, that is amazing. And then it dawned on me, you can have as much as you want because there's a whole bucket of it, and they kept coming round. Okay, this is something I could be part of. I've had it on good authority that I'm not the only one who joined because of halava. Agni Dev Prabhu, who recently left this world, also confirmed to me in person that he joined because of halava. And many of his godbrothers and godsisters also. Halava was a big influence in their lives and remains to this day. We're so blessed that have these devotional ecstasies. So Rathayatra is an ancient festival. No one really knows how old it is, to be honest. Old as time itself. You know, how old is Jagannath? Of course, we have the story of when Jagannath was carved, but really it's an eternal festival that is going on in every universe, in the unlimited universes of this incomprehensible creation. Somewhere there's a Rathayatra festival happening at every moment. And in some of those Rathayatras, Lord Chaitanya is dancing. So somewhere in one of these universes, Lord Chaitanya is dancing in Rathayatra, confirmed. When Lord Chaitanya was at Rathayatra in Jagannath Puri, and he saw Lord Jagannath there, he started to remember Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a holy place. Vrindavan is an eternal abode of Krishna, where Krishna walked, where Krishna is in this picture here. This picture is Vrindavan, the land of the cows, the peacocks. Krishna and Balaram walk there, herding their cattle by the river Yamuna, within the forests, with all their best friends, living with their beloved parents, like the picture just behind us, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the gopis. Everybody's there. And the purpose of Vrindavan is to exchange loving ecstasies, rasa. That's the purpose. Although it's the most opulent place in the entire creation, far more opulent. Just one grain of dust in Vrindavan is more opulent than unlimited Vaikuntha worlds. The trees are desire trees, the cows are surabhi and produce unlimited milk products. Every grain of dust is chintamani, and every leaf is a jewel. And although all these opulences are there, no one cares for them. They couldn't care for them at all, because it's just a backdrop to the loving exchanges which are taking place between Krishna and his devotees. That's all that matters. That's the only wealth that has any value. Everything else is pointless, worthless, waste of time. We work so hard in this life to gain material paraphernalias, whether it's vehicles, houses, handbags, shoes, clothes, music, unlimited things will gather, jewelries. Want our kids to have the best education, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Want our kids to have the best education, want all the best things in life. But without Krishna consciousness, it's simply a waste of time, because we're missing the point. Because there's no meaning to this existence without pure love. And we can only have pure love if we love Krishna. And that is the message Lord Chaitanya came to deliver to us, free of charge, whether we wanted it or not. So even to the most inimical persons, like Jagai and Madai, violent, horrible people, and even they deserve the mercy, via Lord Nityananda, of course, of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So some of us come from a Jagai Madai-like history, and we have also been greatly fortunate to come into contact with Lord Chaitanya's movement. So Jagannath Rathayatra helped Lord Chaitanya remember Vrindavan. And in that mood, he sung at that time what was a popular song, remembering a time where singing to his lover. So we have to understand this in terms of identities here. Lord Jagannath is Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya is Radha, and Jagannath is Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya is calling out, "Oh, my friend, it's been so long since we were together. But I remember a time when we would sit together under the Rathayatra tree, and I want to go back to that place." So this was very confusing to many people present there, because it was a popular song of the time. Sometimes devotees try to dovetail popular music to Krishna consciousness, and the more conservative devotees in our movement will frown upon this very much. Jayadev Prabhu is one such person. He likes to dovetail. He'll sing songs like, when the night has gone and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you'll see. You know how the song goes, so you don't have to sing the whole thing. When the mountains should tumble and fall. Anyway, just stand by me. And so it's a song, he's singing it to Krishna. Please, my Lord, stand by me. Because Krishna's always there. If we call out to him, if we reach out to Krishna, he's there. To the degree that we surrender to Krishna, he's by our side. And to the degree we forget all about him, then he'll keep his distance, because he simply reciprocates with us. Ye yata mam prapajante toms tataiva bhajamyaho mama vatmanu vartante manushyapata sarvashaha. However we approach Krishna, he will reciprocate accordingly. So if we reach out to Krishna, he will take 10 steps towards us. If we forget Krishna, then he will help us forget all about him. Mata smriti jnanam pohanam cha. He gives us the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So that's his kindness. He just wants us to be happy. Oh, you want to be happy in the playground of the material world? Okay, go. Forget all about me if you think that's going to make you happy. But I'll be here when you realize that there's no fun at all. Like a child playing in a playground, forgets all about mum and dad, running around on the swings, the roundabout, the seesaw, but as soon as the child scratches his knee, Mommy! Immediately remembers mum and dad. So similarly, in this world, it takes sometimes a little suffering, a bit of pain, before we turn back to Krishna. It's been set up like that. The universe has been created to, because it's only fair. To the degree that we exploit others, we can only expect to receive a similar permanent punishment. It's only fair. So, Lord Chaitanya, being the most magnanimous incarnation of the Lord, showed the perfect example of the perfect devotee. The perfect devotee is none other than Srimati Radharani herself. What's that verse? Karnebhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayo jnaninas tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama preme kanishtasthata tebhyastha pashupala pankajajishas tebhyo pisa radhika yaprishte prishta tatvadiyam tadiya sarasitam nashriyat kakriti. That you have those who are realized in knowledge. They're very good. But better than those are those who have realized that devotional service is better. But better than those are those who are pure devotees of the Lord. And the best of the pure devotees are the residents of Vrindavan. And out of the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis are the best. And out of all the gopis, Radharani is supreme. Therefore, we should take shelter of Srimati Radharani, nectar of instruction. Upadeshamrita. So, Lord Chaitanya is in that mood, the topmost devotee, giving us the perfect example of how to love her Lord Krishna. And so, Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radharani, is calling out these beautiful songs in the mood of when the residents of Vrindavan went to Kurukshetra. We know that Kurukshetra being a very holy place, and it is where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And it was where the battle of Kurukshetra happened. But there was a time when there was a solar eclipse. And therefore, as was the tradition, the residents of Dwarka, Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra included, went to Kurukshetra to perform sacrifice. And the residents of Vrindavan heard that they were going to go there. So they showed up. Now, we have to understand the context of this, that the residents of Vrindavan had been suffering for years in separation of Krishna, because Krishna had very cruelly left them. He just left. Akrura came, a silly name for Akrura, he's not Akrura at all, he's actually very cruel. He came on the order of Kamsa to pick up Krishna and Balaram from Vrindavan. They were very happy. But Akrura was sent by Kamsa to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura because he wanted to kill them. He'd already sent all of his demons to try to kill baby Krishna, failed. Krishna was a youth now, he's easily dispatching all of his demon followers. Denakasur, Aristasur, Keshi demon, Kaliya serpent, so many demons Krishna killed. And Balaram also killed some too. So Krishna and Balaram went to Mathura and they killed there the Kuvalyapida elephant demon, then killed Kamsa and all his wrestlers, and then they had to kill all of Jarasandha's armies 17 times, and then on the 18th occasion, while simultaneously being attacked by Kalyavana, thank you. He became Ranchor and seemingly ran away, and then transferred his kingdom to Dwarka, which was the city which is still existing today. Of course, the original city is now in the ocean, but Dwarka, you can still go there, Dwarkadish, Krishna. And so that was his capital. And so his capital city in Dwarka was where he lived for many, many years. And during that time, all the residents of Vrindavan, their life just finished. They couldn't breathe, they couldn't eat. All they could do was weep and lament and wonder, when will Krishna come back? Krishna, where are you? And they were just so absorbed in that ecstasy of separation, which is Vipralamba Bhava, that their lives became almost like death. But Krishna had left them. Of course, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He's always there. But he was there in the uppercut form, in the form of his own mood of separation. So they were always absorbed in Krishna. Krishna was always present, but he seemingly wasn't there. And so, being so broken-hearted by so much neglect from Krishna, even though he promised to visit them, and they took the opportunity to go and see him in Kurukshetra. And so they all came, and at that time Radharani, seeing Krishna all dressed up like a king in all opulent robes and the beautiful golden chariot, surrounded by servants and warriors riding, and she's calling out to Krishna, Krishna, I don't want to see you like this, in all these fineries and jewelries and weapons and all these aristocratic men and women around. Let's just go back to Vrindavan. Let's just go back to that place where we used to be, by the Yamuna, by Govardhan Hill, under the Kadamba trees, in the groves of Vrindavan, where your only possession was your beautiful flute. Let's go back to that time. And that was the mood in Kurukshetra. Radharani was pining for Krishna's return to Vrindavan. So the legend goes that, the history goes that Jagannath Rathayatra festival represents this mood of Radharani, where we want to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So in Jagannath Puri each year, the 3 carts are pulled by hand from the Jagannath temple to the Gundicha temple. The Jagannath temple represents Dwarka or Kurukshetra in this situation, and the Gundicha temple represents Vrindavan. They're pulling Jagannath back to Vrindavan. It's also worthy of note at this point to mention that if we have Lord Krishna's lotus feet as our property, if we've taken as our own property Krishna's lotus feet on our heads, our hearts have become Vrindavan. If our minds are completely absorbed in Krishna, our hearts have become Vrindavan, because Krishna is never outside of Vrindavan. And Krishna is never alone. He's always there with all of his friends, the cows, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the peacocks, the monkeys, everybody is there. So if our mind is unwaveringly fixed upon Krishna's lotus feet, our hearts have become Vrindavan. So we're pulling Jagannath back to Vrindavan is non-different to pulling Jagannath back into our hearts. And our hearts have to become like Vrindavan if we want Krishna to be there? Because he never leaves Vrindavan. These are some of the deeper inner meanings of Jagannath Rathayatra, a festival. So Kurukshetra is a very special place because it's all the opulence of Dwarka, but the mood of Vrindavan. So therefore Jagannath Puri represents this unique combination of the opulence of Dwarka. It's like a palace, it's like a kingdom, but the mood of Vrindavan is there. And that's why Lord Chaitanya loved it there so much, because he could get into all of his Vrindavan ecstasies, but he was close enough that his mother wasn't disturbed, Mother Shachi, because although he took sannyas and everybody was so horrified, his beautiful locks, he had such nice hair, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, beautiful raven black hair, and very long, very shiny. And when it was chopped off by the hairdresser, who after chopping off Lord Chaitanya's hair swore he would never cut anyone's hair ever again. He was so traumatized by having done that, and he had to take up another profession. But at that hair shaving ceremony, and those hair still exist in the samadhi, the hair samadhi of Lord Chaitanya. If you go to Katwa, you go to the place where Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, you can see there's a samadhi there for Lord Chaitanya's hair. It's so sacred. And Mother Sachi, when Lord Chaitanya was tricked to go to Advaita Acharya's house instead of Vrindavan, and Mother Sachi came, and obviously she was so devastated because she'd lost her eldest son, Vishwarup, who was actually an incarnation of Lord Nityananda, had already left and taken sannyas, and when Nimai was a child, her husband had passed away, and Lord Chaitanya had already lost one wife, and his second wife, because his first wife died of a broken heart, just because he went away just for a short time. She died from the sake of separation. And then his second wife, Vishnupriya, was only 16. Beautiful young girl. And so it was a tragedy that he would take sannyas and renounce family life. So Lord Chaitanya not only was the greatest devotee, but he was also the greatest son. And therefore, with great respect and reverence for his mother, asked his mother what he should do and where he should go. And she said, it's fine, you've taken sannyas, but please, you should go to Jagannath Puri, because then you'll always be near enough to Bengal that I can get news of you regularly. And that happened. She was able to receive regular news, and not only that, regular association, because the Lord, every time she would offer her bhoga, Lord Chaitanya would personally come in an invisible form that only she could perceive, to take the prasad, take the food, that she was offering. Very special relationship. Anyhow, Jagannath Puri is the mood of Vrindavan, and Lord Chaitanya was able to exhibit all Vrindavan ecstasies there. So in the mood of Radharani, he's calling out to Jagannath all these beautiful prayers. If you go to the 13th chapter of the Madhya Lila, of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, from about verse 130 onwards, these beautiful verses, and very few people understood the depth of what he was saying. Only really Swarup Damodar and Lord Nityananda, one or two others, were given the necessary mercy to be able to perceive the mysteries of the depths of Lord Chaitanya's love for Lord Jagannath. We know Jagannath on his chariot is fully independent. Sometimes he agrees to be pulled, and sometimes he refuses to move. And so there was a kind of competition going on between Lord Chaitanya and Jagannath, where Lord Chaitanya would be dancing at the front, leading the way, but then he would sometimes allow Jagannath to go ahead, and then, you are the Lord, you are my Lord, you show me the way to Vrindavan. And then Jagannath would stop and force Lord Chaitanya to come back to the front because he wants to see him. And so there was kind of a stopping and starting. Once when the cart absolutely stopped and nothing could move it, and Maharaj Pratapuruja brought elephants to try to move the cart and nothing could move the cart, Lord Chaitanya went behind and just with his head he was able to move the Rathayatra cart. So these kind of things were happening. We know that there were many kirtan parties, just like in London Rathayatra was completely chaotic. Nothing like that. It was very well organized. And there were 7 kirtan parties, and each kirtan party had 2 mridangas, 8 sets of kartals, one lead singer and 1 dancer. And the singer obviously didn't have modern amplification. So they would sing and all the instruments would be quiet, softly being played, just gently, little mridanga and kartals. And then the chorus, when everybody responded, all the instruments would be loud again. And so it would be this very nice, beautiful, harmonious kirtan. And there was a lead dancer, so... Oh wait, maybe there was 4 kirtan parties. I think there were 7. Anyway, 4 of the lead dancers were Lord Nityananda was a lead dancer, Advaita Acharya was a lead dancer, Vagreshwara Pandit, of course, had to be, and Haridas Thakur. Because Advaita Acharya was very old at that time, and so was Haridas Thakur, but they were still fantastic dancers. The dancing is so important in Krishna consciousness, and Rathayatra Festival is a great opportunity to exhibit your dancing potency. Every one of us has a potency to dance with great ecstasy, and we should utilize that potency at Rathayatra Festival, as Lord Chaitanya showed us, and these great personalities showed us. Because by dancing is an international language. Everybody understands when you dance. It doesn't matter which country you're from, everybody will appreciate a person who's... Because you can't actually dance unless you're really happy. Everyone can tell if it's mechanical. But if you're really dancing, it means your heart is very light, it's very open and full of joy, and you're dancing, and everybody can appreciate that. Everybody's attracted to that. Even if it's a bit clunky and awkward, like the way I dance. But people still smile. It makes them happy. So it's a great gift to the world, dancing. And it doesn't really make any logical sense. If you ever analyze dancing, it really is a strange phenomenon, isn't it? Why do creatures do that? It seems so strange, but it's a very beautiful thing. And so it comes from Vrindavan, because Krishna is Vrindavana Natabar, the greatest dancer. Nobody could dance like him. He was such a good dancer, he could even outdance the peacocks. And Krishna was awarded the peacock feather from the peacocks because he outdanced them. His dancing was so beautiful. It's a pastime when him and Radharani also, while dancing with the peacocks, actually took peacock forms. So there's a strong connection between the dancing peacocks, the dancing of Radha and Krishna, the peacock feather, and also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing at Rathayatra. London Rathayatra has a special place in history because it appears in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita in the purport, in the 13th chapter of the Majjhilila. There's a purport where, in the verse, the Jagannath Rathayatra cart is compared to Mount Sumeru, which is an incredibly tall mountain. If you're into cosmology and you know about Bhumandala, you'll understand there's a big golden mountain, which is the pivot of the universe, and this mountain is incredibly high. And so it was said that the Rathayatra cart seemed so big and so tall, so beautiful, it was compared to Mount Sumeru. When, in 1973, Prabhupada recalls in his purport, there was a fabulous Rathayatra festival in London. And it was famous, it was called the Dancing Rathayatra. In subsequent years, it was called the Dancing Rathayatra because Srila Prabhupada danced the entire Rathayatra. From its starting point all the way to Trafalgar Square. He danced the whole way. And Shyamasundar Prabhu in his book, Chasing Rhinos, relates how it created one of the biggest traffic jams in London history. And all the police were hassling. Shyamasundar was hassling also my spiritual master, His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj, who was in charge of Rathayatra. So the story, in 1973, when my spiritual master was in his mid-20s, received, and he joined the temple at Bari Place, Radha Krishna temple in Bari Place, and he received a big inheritance, which was about £8,000. So in 1973 you have to multiply, I think, about... No, it's more than that. It's a lot more. You can find it on the ChatGPT. What's the currency conversion from 1973 to 2026 in pounds? And so upon hearing that he'd received this inheritance, Shyamasundar Prabhu, very intelligent, made him in charge of London Rathayatra. And sure enough, he spent every single penny of his inheritance on Rathayatra and actually went into debt and created a financial problem for the temple. And anyone who knows my spiritual master can tell you he's terrible with money. Awful. But he always spends it in the right way. I know because for a while I was managing his bank account. So they made a very glorious Rathayatra. They spent lavishly on all the decorations. They had a magazine. How many times? 11?
15.
Oh, 15. I thought it was 11. Okay. So 15 times 8. Who can do the math?
120.
So the modern equivalent of £120,000. How many of us, if we received £120,000 in inheritance, would spend it all on Rathayatra, or just give it to a temple? Who would do that? Mother Shambhara, definitely. It's a rare soul. It takes realization. So he got so much mercy for that. And Prabhupada personally thanked him and said that was the correct use of Krishna's money in a room conversation. £120,000, what a Rathayatra we could put on. Tatikshi was always complaining. Oh, it costs £40,000 to put on Rathayatra, blah, blah, blah. Can't do this, can't do that. There's nothing. We should be spending, and I told him we have unlimited, Krishna will send the money, don't think about the money. Let's do a bigger, and I don't want to get into this. You've got to be careful. But it is frustrating. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Still the procession's nice. So the 1973 Rathayatra was different. That was really something special, and Prabhupada loved it so much that he wrote it eternally for the next 10,000 years in the law books for the world. In the purport, he wrote about the 1973 London Rathayatra because on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, they had a picture of the Rathayatra cart and it said, ISKCON Rathayatra defeats Nelson's column. And there's a picture of the Rathayatra cart at such an angle, it looks like it's the same height or taller than Nelson's column. Because we know Lord Nelson's up there, because he saved Britain from Napoleonic warfare, like seaborne warfare. They destroyed the French fleet at Battle of Trafalgar, and he died in the battle. Lord Nelson, very great warrior, and so out of gratitude they put him up on that huge pillar, so all the pigeons could poo on his head freely. I've been told there's actually tilak on Lord Nelson up there. Somebody climbed up in 1973 and put tilak. I don't know if it's true, and it's difficult to verify, but that's what I heard. So therefore, in the same way that Jagannath Rathayatra and Jagannath Puri the Rathayatra cart was compared to Mount Sumeru, the Rathayatra cart in London was compared to Nelson's column. And Prabhupada was so proud of that. He went all over the world as we defeated Nelson. We have to remember, Prabhupada grew up in British India. For the first 50 years of his life, he was under the British Raj. The Kolkata was the jewel in the crown of the British Empire at that time. There was even a conversation that we should move the capital of the British Empire from London to Kolkata, because it was really the exemplar city in the entire world at the time. It was so wealthy, so opulent, so clean, and it had been made so nicely planned with beautiful architecture, everything. And the British were so proud of that city. And Prabhupada grew up there. So right in the midst of the British time in India. And to hold such a successful Rathayatra festival right in the heart of central London was a great victory for him. It was a victory beyond anything we could really imagine. For just an elderly Indian gentleman who'd never left his home country at an advanced age, 69 years old, gets on a ship to America with just $4 and some chunks of Bhagavatam, and off he goes. And from that point to be able to hold a Rathayatra festival in central London, the heart of the British Empire, the old empire, and it's going to the Guardian newspaper on the front page. So he said, we defeated Lord Nelson. What a victory it was. And we can only imagine how much that meant to Prabhupada, and how much Barry Place also meant to Srila Prabhupada, because he got a temple, something that his own spiritual master wanted so much, but his disciples failed to achieve. Little Srila Prabhupada went, and through the hard work of his disciples, established a temple just 2 blocks from the British Museum. The British Museum where the British stole all the jewels of India, the priceless artifacts, the deities, and put them all in the British Museum with references and nicely documented when these items were stolen, where they were stolen from, and their completely biased interpretation of what they mean. And Prabhupada established a temple just 2 blocks. You can see the British Museum from the front door of Barry Place. What a victory. And then to establish the first ever full-size Radha Krishna deities in ISKCON, and perhaps in Britain, because it was hard to find Radha Krishna deities. We know that Prabhupada had set the date for the opening on Odan Shasti, 14th of December 1969, that was to be the opening date, and Shyamasundar was busy getting together the temple room and the altar, but then it dawned on them, there's no deities, Prabhupada. We're called the Radha Krishna Temple. We've even released an album now, a Radha Krishna Temple album, which got to number 17 in the album charts. But we don't have any Radha Krishna deities. And so Prabhupada said, you've got to put the word out to the Indian community, maybe somebody knows. But it seemed there was not a single, not only did anyone not hear of Radha Krishna deities, nobody had any Radha Krishna deities. It seemed there wasn't even any in London or in the entire country. But then, of course, you know that they got the call from Mr. Goyal, who informed them that the Hindu Society of London, which is one of the first Hindu societies, I think it was the first Hindu society in the entire of the UK, we have Radha Krishna deities, but there's a slight injury to Radharani's figure, therefore due to the strict regulations of our scriptures, we can't install them. Would you like to come and see them? As soon as Prabhupada heard, he said, let's go immediately. So they went, and they went in their van, and they came into Mr. Goyal's house, and they were greeted, with all civility, and exchanged familiarities, and niceties, and they could see there was the forms covered with a cloth standing on a table, and Prabhupada just completely ignored them. Completely ignored Radha and Krishna. They were hidden under some cloth, and just spoke to Mr. Goyal and his family. A lot of it in Hindi, just chatting away, chatting, and seemingly not interested in the deities at all. And at some point, I wanted to meet, please can I meet your wife? Let me meet your family. Can I meet your son? Can I meet your daughter? What's your name? On and on like this. And finally, after about an hour of this, Mr. Goyal said, Swamiji, are you interested in the deities or not? I said, okay, let's see them. And so he went over in a very grandiose way, removed the coverings. And of course all the devotees immediately fell down. They'd never seen such beautiful forms of Radha. They'd never seen a form of Radha Krishna in marble before. They'd never seen such beautiful forms. They paid their obeisances, but Prabhupada, pretending to not to be interested, just went like this. Turned back to Mr. Goyal and then just continued chatting away again about random things. And so finally Mr. Goyal said, so how should we arrange for this? Radharani's fingers damaged, this and that. So don't worry, we have an expert person. Shamsundar, please go and lift Krishna. How heavy is he? He's not very heavy, Prabhupada. Okay. And Radharani? Oh, not very heavy, Prabhupada. Okay then, let's go to the van. And according to Shyamasundar Prabhu's recollection, it all just happened very suddenly, that the deities were picked up and just moved out all of a sudden in one movement, and Mr. Goyal didn't know what was going on. Swamiji chasing after them. Swamiji, what about Radharani's finger? Don't worry, I've got perfect person to fix it. And how are you going to install it? Don't worry, I've got it all. Slide about the altar, got the temple. And so they got into the van. Prabhupada said, drive. And so they drove. And Mr. Goyal, according to Shyamasundar, as he looked out the window, were just standing there with his family with a surprised expression on their face. The story goes that they drove a few blocks and then Prabhupada said, stop the van. And then he turned around and then started to chant prayers from the Brahma Samhita. Chinta mani prakara samashaka praviksha laksha vrideshu surabhi avipalayantam lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama seryamanam govindamadi purusham namaham bhajami vivenam fanantam aravinda dalaya taksham vahavitam samasitam buddha sundarangam kanta prakotika maniya vishesha shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Very reverentially worshipped Radha and Krishna, turned back around, they started to drive again, and Mukunda, who was in the back holding Radha Rani, said, Prabhupada, I believe you've just kidnapped Krishna. And Prabhupada said yes. And then he recalled a story of when he was a young man trying to start up a business in Kolkata, and he gone to the bank for a big loan, and the bank manager was trying to explain to him, no, Swamiji, you shouldn't take this, you should try this other type of loan. And that he said due to his good arguments he was able to change his opinion and managed to get everything that he wanted from that bank manager. And that bank manager said, sir, you should have become a politician. In this way, Prabhupada was always able to, using diplomacy, using tricks, to get what he needed to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. There's countless examples of this. So Bari Place was where those beautiful Radha Krishna deities were installed, in that tiny little temple room on Oran Shasti Day, 14th of December 1969. Due to the connections with Apple Records, BBC were informed, and many cameras came for the occasion. So many distinguished guests, nobody could hardly fit into that temple room, and it was so hot and stuffy in there. And of course there's the story of the installation, because Prabhupada performed Abhishek, and then the deities were taken to the altar. And because Shyamasundar had been working 25 hours a day for the last 6 months trying to get that temple up to shape, had fallen asleep before managing to fix the altar. It was just balanced there. There was the altar, and then there was 2 pillars and a canopy. But he hadn't had time to fix it with screws and nails, and it was just balanced there. And then he'd gone to sleep. He actually slept for 24 hours, he said. Missed the whole festival, everything. And so therefore when they were dressing Radha and Krishna, somebody knocked one of the pillars with their elbow, and then the whole structure started to wobble and shake, was just about to come crashing down on Radha and Krishna. And so at that time Prabhupada stood up like a lion, grabbed the pillars, like this and just said, "Take it out." Yamuna recalls that his eyes were burning like with fire, and he appeared like Nrsingadev incarnate, and despite being an old man, exhibited unnatural strength and determination. He would do anything to protect his beautiful lordships, who he had named Shri Shri Radha London Ishwara Ki Jai. Those deities became Prabhupada's favourite deities. This is confirmed by Tamal Krishna Maharaj, by Shamsundar Prabhu, and by other devotees, that wherever he went in the world, and some temple president who got new deities would say, "Prabhupada, do you like our beautiful deities?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes, they are very beautiful." Radhaland and Ishwar are also very beautiful. So he would always talk about Radhaland and Ishwar, he'd always talk about Bari Place, what a victory it was. And so this is a very historical location, is highly connected to Jagannath Rathayatra, and this spiritual, historical and cultural significance of those four walls is so meaningful to the devotees that when the opportunity to purchase Bari Place came up on an auction, even though we didn't have any money to buy it with, we decided to win it on the auction anyway and trust that Krishna and the devotees would come through. And we won it for £1.61 million, and I'd never fundraised before. But we had faith, and so we made the campaign, and sure enough, within 4 weeks, the entire amount had been secured, and we were able to buy the building. And 7 Bari Place came back into ISKCON forever. So what are we doing with it is the question. Everyone's asking me, "So what's going on with the building?" Well, at the moment we have tenants in the building. It's 6 floors. 3 of the floors are occupied by dentists. There are 3 dentist partners working together in one company, and they occupy a floor each. One in the old temple room, one in Prabhupada's room, and one in the basement where the prasadam used to be served. The 3 floors above, which used to be the accommodation for the devotees, the old sewing room, and other. I think they used to make incense up there in the loft as well, which is crazy because if you go into the loft, you can't stand up. You can only kneel there. And brahmacharis used to sleep up there as well. Anyway, apparently at this peak, over 100 devotees lived in that tiny building. Don't ask me how. It's crazy how they must have. They were sleeping on the stairs, in the bathroom, everywhere. And Tribhuvannath Prabhu would sleep on the lamppost outside, just standing up. He was caught once or twice doing that, just doing his round with his japa like wrapped around the lamppost, fast asleep, standing up. Different time. And so the 3 upper floors, and we're going to have vacant possession fully at the end of this month. Now that sounds good, but it's not so easy as it sounds. We have to get fire regulation approval, building control, we have to get change of use, because it's a commercial property now. These things take time. But yes, the upper 3 floors, the plan is to make perhaps the world's first Vaishnavi Academy, and particularly CVA, which has been a huge success in ISKCON London, and has been really the secret to our success has been Studio 108 and the CVA. The Studio 108 is a outreach centre, which is more like a nightclub for aspiring transcendentalists who perhaps feel intimidated or shy to go into a place of religion, like many of us may have experienced in the past. Walking into a temple, a church or a mosque, if it's not for touristic reasons, may seem a little bit intimidating for many people. So we made a place called Studio 108, which is a cool yoga, meditation, and a place to get great food center. And we give them kirtan, we give them a wisdom talk from Bhagavad Gita, but in contemporary language, and delicious prasadam which isn't too spicy, and it's not too oily, and they don't have to use their hands. And they have napkins, and that table, so they don't have to sit on the floor because their legs hurt and back hurts. We make everything easy for them, because that's the mood of Lord Chaitanya. We have to meet people where they are, and not expect that they're going to come to the temple. They're not going to come to the temple. That's why Lord Chaitanya had to take the temple out on the street. That's why Jagannath comes out, to see everybody, because they're not going to come and see him inside the temple. So we go out on book distribution, we invite them, they come, they chant, dance with us. They don't know that it's Hare Krishna, even though they're chanting Hare Krishna. Because lots of yoga groups chant Hare Krishna now. They don't know, but they suspect that it might be us, but they think it can't be the Hare Krishnas, because these guys are cool. They can see, oh yeah, some of them got bald heads, and they got that little funny thing at the back. But they turn a blind eye to those things, because otherwise we're undercover. We're in disguise. And it's amazing, just by putting on a pair of pants, a pair of trousers, how differently people think of you. It's quite extraordinary. That when you're wearing full robes, the conversation's a bit cagey sometimes. But you just put a pair of jeans and all of a sudden you're best friends. It's weird. Anyway, so we have to just go with that. The world's like that at this moment in time. It's working for us. And so people who get into it, you start chanting rounds and following the principles. We have a CVA, we call it Contemporary Vedic Ashram. This is the idea of Devamrita Maharaj. And they can live with devotees and get into Prabhupada's books, read the Bhagavatam, get up to 16 rounds, and in this way become devotees. And then after a year of this, then they can make a life decision. Do I want to walk the life of renunciation and try brahmachari life, or do I want to get married? And either direction, we are there to support that person. Actually, we need more people taking the married direction, because we can't just keep having bald guys on the stage while everyone's got a baseball cap on. So we're trying to keep some guys with hair, because everybody just wants the full immersive experience. I want to taste the full Krishna consciousness. So anyway, we've got a couple of boys with hair. We're trying to keep them with hair at the moment in the CV. And one of them shaved off without telling us. It was like, oh. Curly haired Tom, he shaved his head.
Tall one.
No, curly haired Tom.
I know Tom.
Blonde Tom.
He's
You know?
He's good friend.
Yeah, he's from Bristol.
Yeah, Bristol.
Great guy. Great guy. He's gone to Portugal to pick up his van.
Oh, he's going to get it, yeah?
Yeah. We're going to put that van to some good use in the Sankirtan mission. We're going to go to Bristol and do Harinama book distribution
Needs to
there.
be done.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Bristol's a really cool place. Loads of really nice. You're from Bristol?
No, I'm from Margaret. I went to the manor and stayed at the manor with Tom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know him from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, top lad. Yeah, Tom's really cool. So Studio 108 brings these cool guys. And we need, because Krishna consciousness needs to become cool again. Like, instead of making Britain great again, because it can't be, we can make it cool again. Krishna consciousness cool again. And we have to remember, at the time when the 6 Grihastha couples came to London, these were cool guys. I mean, Shyama was friend with all these big bands like the Grateful Dead. He was the drug dealer. And we had Guru Das was like a leader in the counter-culture movement, and he knew all like the Malcolm X guys, and he was like really into the scene. You had Mukunda was a famous jazz musician. Like, he even had fans who would follow him and croon over his incredible musical talents. You had Yamuna, who had like a voice like nectar, and George Harrison said, "I can make you into a star." I'll make you a star. You got an agent? But she refused, because she didn't want to have her international fame inhibit her Krishna consciousness. So these were the kind of people. Malati was a motorcycle chick, and so these were like. Then they just became part of the scene there. They hung with all the coolest people in London at the time. They became friends with the Beatles. I mean, come on. So at that time, everybody wanted to be Hare Krishna. So I don't know if it's true, but there could be an argument that we're not quite as cool as that anymore. But Studio 108 is one of the ways by which we can bring about that kind of. And everybody who goes there wants to bring their friends. I found this really nice place. It's great. There people are really chilled out, really wise, great food. They come, we chant these mantras, and they bring their friends. And we have 3 nights a week there. And the same program, Prabhupada's original program, Kirtan, talk, Kirtan Prasad, as he was doing in 26 Second Avenue. And from that, people come to the CVA, they live with us, and then some of them, many of them become brahmacharis, and from those brahmacharis, we've been able to grow book distribution to new heights, and to defeat all other records. And it looks like this year, even the UK as a whole will defeat all previous records in book distribution. And it is all coming from us humbly following in the footsteps of Vaisheshika Prabhu and Devamrita Maharaj, who have perfected these models. And by their mercy, really magic is happening. And so Bari Place is a symptom of this magic, that we always wanted that building. Of course we did. I would go there. I mean, there's so many times stood outside, prayed to Krishna, please, Krishna, when will we get this building back? And when it came on auction, and the opportunity came to get it, and we won it on the auction, and then the money all came in, it's just Krishna's mercy. There's no other explanation. It's a miracle. And now we have that building. So what are we going to do? Sorry, I got off the topic. Yes, we want to have a ladies' CVA, because the ladies don't have anything. We recently installed a plaque at the reception of ISKCON London, thanking and appreciating, recognizing the ladies' Sankirtan party from the 80s, who, due to their hard work and sacrifice, paid for Soho Street building and the refurbishment. Without them, it wouldn't have happened. Women in our movement often go unrecognized and unappreciated for the service that they've done. And so we decided to install that plaque. And I can't tell you how blissful it was, and how many blessings we all felt from all those Sankirtan devotees all came, all the Vaishnavi Sankirtan party members came to install that plaque. It was such a nice event. And getting Bari Place back, we saw it as an opportunity then to have a ladies' CVA. But instead of it being called the Contemporary Vedic Ashram, it would be called the Contemporary Vaishnavi Ashram, CVA. So it's a work in progress. It's going to take time to develop. And then the lower 3 floors, which is Prabhupada's old room, the old temple room, and the old eating area in the basement, is... First of all, we have to extract the dentists. They've been extracting from us for so long. And these guys, just take one look in your mouth. Oh dear. You need one of those... yes, sorry sir, you need a root canal operation. It's amazing how they always say that. Oh, it has to be a root canal operation. The frequency seems very high. Of course, they say it's not because you don't experience any pain right now, but you might in the future. Therefore, please agree to having this operation, and the government will pay me thousands of pounds for it. And then the next person walks in and he tells us, anyway, it's just my conspiracy theory, right? I'm sure they're not doing that.
How many root canals did he have?
None. But I did foolishly agree to have my wisdom teeth extracted before they came out, which, again, it's like, oh, it might hurt when they come out. Of course the teeth hurt when they come out, but they might have been okay. And that was really bad, so, I don't trust dentists.
Mine all came out and I'm completely fine.
That's why you're so wise. So we need to extract the dentists and implant the transcendentalists. That's our plan. We want to have Prabhupada's room as a place of meditation, reflection. We took Indrajita Maharaj there recently, and he wanted to spend some time in that old room. Rathayatra Maharaj also came, visited recently. Shivram Maharaj has had a look around also. So we're taking feedback from these different devotees, and we would like Prabhupada's room to be a nice place of meditation, as pictures are windows to the spiritual world, these holy places are also windows to Srila Prabhupada's eternal pastimes, which are still ongoing in a apricot form in Bari Place. As they're going on in Radha Temple, Prabhupada actually said that I will always be present in these rooms at Radha Mandir, therefore maintain them. So similarly, we should understand Prabhupada is always present, because Bari Place was so dear to him. George Harrison used to just pop in, just to say hello, and he took instruction from Prabhupada in that room. He agreed in that room to print the Krishna book and to sponsor it in its entirety. $19,000. Do the conversion, multiplied by 15. He agreed to that in that room. And he also agreed to look for a new place for the devotees, bigger in the countryside. And of course, we all know that led to Bhaktivedanta Manor. So it's a great history at Bari Place. So it really is a window to Prabhupada's pastimes. And we don't want Bari Place just to become a museum. You go there, have a look around, and go home. We want it to become a thriving preaching center of Krishna consciousness. It has to have a very active function, where an opportunity for people to come who are new, who are interested in spiritual life, and they can become interested in Krishna consciousness there. So we want to make a very nice presentation for the public, and that includes, Krishna willing, a nice place to eat. So the basement is public facing because there's a walkway that goes from the pavement straight into the basement from the street. So we could make a nice cafe there, because in London you have all these cool cafes in the lower ground floors of buildings. So we would like to have something like that with some, let's see if it works out. Hopefully it won't just become another Govinda's. Oh Christ. Something, a little bit more refined. It's the British Museum just down the road. So many people walking past. It would be nice to do something there. So those are some ideas that we're having. It will take time. Please be patient with us. And if you have any other ideas of your own, please submit them to me. They'll be gratefully received. So, I've gone over time by 10 minutes. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bari Place ki jai. Jagannath Rathayatra 2026 ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing ki jai. Ananda Koti